Pretty Little Liars Original Sin sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. To Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new episodes of Pretty Little Liars Original Sin for you.
We do.
And it's still not campy enough.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely not. No.
I think I heard season 2 is like more camp.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. After they get through here. We're still in our grimdark era.
Yeah.
Not grimdark, but like, we're very much in our
it's
teen
playful
horror era.
Yeah. It's still playful. Like, it's not horror. It's just not.
No, yeah, it's not devoid of nothing, but see a little quirky.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see a little tiny corgi head on the bottom. What is that? On next to me.
Yeah.
What side is that for them? The left? Okay.
Good Lord, it's the same for us. Oh, Jesus. 1 minute. We're back, more settled, and I think we're good. You can see a little corgi body there, but he's just laying down. I couldn't get us all in the frame, so we're making do.
He just needed attention. And to be fair, I think that's the theme of these episodes. These kids just need attention.
Yeah, they just need someone helping them out. Someone. But I think that is actually one of the things I do like about this new series is the way the parents are depicted. Because they've all done something in their past that has deeply scarred them that they don't talk about, they are more closed off, even to their kids. The knock-on effects from that are really good. Mm-hmm. And also the way they handle the situation is really fun too, of just okay, how do we go into damage control mode to fix this and get it swept under the rug? The idea of the show came from what would the girls' children be like, because the girls were so traumatized, from the original Pretty Little Liars? Yeah, I mean, I hadn't thought about that, but I think you're onto something there.
But I mean, 100%. Obviously, then they made it, more blue collar.
That's right. This is Millwood, not Rosewood, because this is a mill town, people.
There's a train.
Mm-hmm. And
even though they could take the train to Pittsburgh in Rosewood, but
yeah, also that train station in Rosewood also was always ooh, eerie.
Train station.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I love Amtrak stations. There's been very few that I've ever had an issue with.
That's right. They're the best.
I don't think I've ever been to an Amtrak station and not liked it. I'm trying to think of my least favorite Amtrak station. I don't have one.
See, there you go. That's right across the board. We love trains on this podcast. Put it on the...
Honestly, probably
stamp of approval.
The Santa Barbara one, and not because of anything other than the fact that it was really small.
Yeah, that's fair. It wasn't a lot of room there. It was just kind of a thin little track.
Mm-hmm.
Not much space. But I think the other thing that I found in these episodes is that we're not the things that we're getting to know about the rest of the characters. I don't think they're doing as good of a balance with the 5 protagonist act as the original series did. Well,
because the original series started with 4.
Either way, I mean, this is Imogen's story and everybody else is ancillary.
I think that's kind of their thing is each season is kind of more about one girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's what I've picked up. They kind of have one scream queen per season kind of vibe.
That's fair.
That's at least what I not read in detail, but what I've gotten from what I've read. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it comes at the expense of, again, getting to know some of the other characters. I still feel I think the biggest victims of that are Noah and Mouse.
Faran. All we know about Faran is that she is a fair weather friend.
I think
which is a horrible personality trait.
I think with Faran we get to know someone that is looks out for herself over everybody else. And then I think when we get to see her mom be that way, it's oh, okay, I can understand who Faran is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we understand who Noah is. I think I just don't like the depiction there. It's oh, she's this is reductive, but that Latinx girl with a heart of gold. She's just always, it's she's got the wrong circumstances, just everything going against her, but damn, is she a good person on the inside? And I kind of go, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think it's hard. They play with depiction in one of these episodes. They play with like what's everyone's favorite musical, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yes.
And so hers, of course, is West Side Story.
No, hers
Wasn't
was
it?
Step Up.
Was it not? I thought it was West Side Story. Who's
Mouse's is West Side Story. And then she goes, "Oh, I liked West Side Story too, but only because I wanted to jump Tony's bones."
Yeah. That's what. Okay, so that's why I mixed it up. I was like, no, because they tried to typecast her in a character.
Yeah, they put her in Step Up.
That's
the Step Up franchise.
That's even odder.
Well, it's ballet and Someone from the Streets. Channing Tatum.
You still desperately need to watch Bring It On All or Nothing to really feel cultured in how bad we can make representation in movies.
Perfect. All right.
It's not that like the movie. If you haven't seen Bring It On All or Nothing, it stars Hayden Panettiere, and she's the white girl that goes to the basically like the equivalent of the Clovers. I don't know if it is the Clovers or what it is, but like she leaves the white girl school to go to a school that actually has people that aren't white, which happens to most of us, depending on where you grew up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
right. Don't take TV as a given.
But it they do crumping, and watching Hayden Panettiere do crumping is like it's a crime. And it's so, like, I purely enjoy it from like oh my God, why? Like, I can't imagine like showing up for work that day and being, if someone looked at me as white as I am and said, Emily, you have to crump today, I would say, I'm so sorry, you're going to have to hire someone else. Like, I physically am not capable.
Right.
I would look so silly. I don't have that skill set. And it's more of that than even her being white. It's like, she does not have the skill set.
And this movie's from like the mid 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So, just in case you're wondering, this is Bush years, people.
I mean, No Child Behind Left.
That's right. We were a very different country then. We recently watched the first Bring It On, and it's just like, this is definitely a year 2000 film in some fun ways of like coming off from the 90s, and other ways like, boy, we really had like different priorities as what is acceptable. Like, what is like a funny thing to display on screen.
Yeah, the homophobia wasn't very funny.
And then the casual like sexual assault kind of jokes of like,
oh yeah, like the male cheerleader.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool.
Best to leave some things in the past.
Exactly. But I think of Noah as from Knives Out. How it's like, oh, she's just this hardworking like immigrant who like literally can't tell a lie.
The girl who throws up in the first one.
I think like that's like the kind of the stock character, because it's like, I covered for my mom, she's on the right track, but I'm good, like, but nobody will understand because
I also don't love the portrayal of her mom being like the problem. You know what I mean? Like, make the white girl's mom a problem, which they do, but she's dead.
Yeah. Oh, there's some good stuff with that. And I think with Mouse, they're obviously holding stuff back for like a reveal, but I think just at this point, that's like, we just don't know Mouse. It's like Mouse likes computers and doesn't like hang out with people. But if I know one thing about people that spend a lot of time in computers in the age of the internet, like, she has a whole entire life online.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of art is she posting on Twitter? Like, what kind of like,
who's she reblogging on Tumblr? Actually, they probably aren't on Tumblr because the year is 2021.
Fair enough. Is she really into anime and like reposting like horny art or something? Is she like playing like on video games? Like, she got like a clan or something that she's part of, or a guild in like WoW, or she's just playing Fortnite a bunch? Like, what Discord is she in? You know what I mean?
Me just playing The Sims by myself.
Exactly.
I'm just building houses.
But there's also people online that connect over doing that. So I think there's just not the imaginary for that, where it's like,
it's one of those shows too where you can tell which characters' interests are interests of the writers.
Oh, you talking about Tabby?
I'm talking about Tabby. Tabby makes a movie reference every 12 seconds.
Every single scene. It's terrible.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's like, we really need to calm this down.
Mm-hmm. It's like if I was trying to compare it to Riverdale in a sense, because like, like, it'd be like if Cheryl Blossom wasn't like like Cheryl Blossom has very like specific mannerisms and things she talks about, but like they make her still a well-rounded character that you still have interest in. I love Cheryl Blossom. She's one of my favorite characters. But I feel like with Tabby, they made her one interest.
Yeah.
And it's movies, and then that's it. And it's all she references and all she talks about.
Yeah, and you can do that in a way where, because she is just like all movie references. It's rough.
It's like literally every line is a movie reference. Like not a single normal line.
Oh, like Patrick Bateman. Oh, it's like this horror movie. It's like, oh my God, please, we need to stop.
I also think I need someone to help me. I think on Faran's walls are giant pictures of Alvin Ailey. That's the best I could discern.
Yeah.
So if someone knows for sure, that's what it looks like, but I'm not certain. And so I have a lot of questions about that design choice, just because it's a lot of really big pictures of someone's head.
Yeah, let us know. Like, it's got to be some famous dancer, we assume.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it has to be Alvin Ailey. Also, because it looks the most like Alvin Ailey from what I have seen and remember. I took like a couple dance history classes, so like I saw pictures, but I can't tell for sure. So I'm like, oh,
could be
someone else. Could be something totally unrelated.
Yeah,
maybe it's, I don't know, but I think it's interesting, so I want to know.
Yeah,
so if you know, tell me.
Yeah, drop it in.
Yeah, let me know. Well, now that we've rambled,
should
you get started?
Might as well, shouldn't we? Okay. Chapter 2, The Spirit Queen. We get a 6 months ago title card. The Beasleys have a party at their house while their parents are at a church retreat. Imogen and Karen are best friends at this time. Imogen wants Greg to get them more alcohol, but Karen isn't speaking to Greg as they're in a fight. Imogen stumbles off to find him. Tabby and Chip enter, and Chip isn't excited to be there. Sean and Noah are also there, and Noah doesn't have her ankle monitor. Imogen finds Greg in a bedroom and relays Karen's message about wanting more beer. He says Karen always bugging him and he never has time, but like, I wish she was more like you, Imogen. In the kitchen, Kelly rushes over to Karen and whispers into her ear nervously. Karen then stomps off to find Imogen and yells at her for kissing her boyfriend. Imogen's like, that isn't what happened. He kissed me. But Kelly says she saw them. Karen tells her to get out. Imogen walks down the driveway, then pauses, curses, and then goes back inside the party. Present day. Imogen tells the liars about the house party 6 months ago, and Noah remembers seeing Tabby there with her boyfriend. Tabby's like, no, Chip is not a boyfriend. Imogen reveals there is an embarrassing video from that night that someone made of Karen. Faran suggests posting it somewhere, but Mouse is like, no, the internet is for eternity. Faran's like, is it a sex tape? And Imogen's like, no, it's not a sex tape. And Tabby's like, okay, well, I think what I can do is I can edit it before the Jordan Peele double feature, and I can make it short enough that people don't have time to pull up their phones. Editor's note, she does not make this short enough for people to not have time to pull out their phones. Imogen says the video is on a phone at her house. They all go to Imogen's old house and they're all creeped out. Imogen arrives back with the phone and a charger. So because I pulled these notes Emily pulls these notes for me from Fandom.
Don't you diminish my copy and paste. I control oh my God. V.
And then I go through and just kind of like edit it down so we don't spend the entire episode walking through it, because they're very comprehensive, which is great, but just not for this purpose.
They also have like a little bit of conjecture and opinion.
It's really funny. But they call them the little liars. And I'm like, oh, that's fun.
Because you got the big liars and the little liars.
Uh-huh.
That's cute.
Yeah, the little liars. Head to Pinball Pizza, and Imogen says the phone is some douchebags, and they haven't asked for it since. Imogen passes around the phone for everyone to see the video. Mouse worries this can blow back on them if people feel sorry for her, but Faran, Tabby, and Noah vote yes to releasing the video. Imogen's like, actually, let's just sleep on this. It might be a bad idea. We get a montage of the girls all coming home and their parents reprimanding them for their supposed acts of bullying against Karen. As each of the girls sit in their rooms, they receive messages from an unknown number with videos attached. Mouse's video is of a rat dying of asphyxiation. Ooh. Faran's shows A putting razor blades in a ballerina shoe, and Noah's is of a teapot pouring urine into a sample cup.
A point shoe.
Yeah, I said ballerina shoe.
I mean, it is, but...
I understand. Imogen and Tabby watch a video together of a gloved person stabbing holes in Karen's campaign posters. All 5 girls video chat to discuss the videos. Mouse suggests calling the cops, though Faran points out that that's Karen's dad. Fair enough. They think the videos are all from Karen, and it gets them to double down on releasing the video of her. Tabby mutes the group to ask Imogen how she feels, and Imogen is in if Tabby's in. Thursday, October 1st. Karen walks into school to find Imogen and Tabby hosting a booth. They invite Karen to the screening/campaign event for Imogen to be Spirit Queen. Karen decides to come, grabs a flyer, and stomps off. Mouse, Faran, and Noah distribute flyers for the event. Noah joins Sean at the library. The football team are all discussing plans for the dance, and Noah's like, "You need to go. Go be with them. It's fine." Tabby shows Chip the video of Karen, and he's like, "This is majorly fucked up." Tabby's like, "Well, Karen sent out videos before this, including animal torture." Chip's like, "Well, okay, well, I have your back." She thanks him, and it's like, "Well, prid pro quo.
Quid pro quo.
He asks if she'll go to the Spirit Week dance with him, and she's like, "Yeah, fine."
Which, like, the irony of her saying quid pro quo at her place of work, like, when that's usually, like, a type of harassment that, like,
right.
Like, I would tie with her boss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll see what he does, but.
Right. Or, yeah, what he tries to do.
It's this for that, which I mean, that's, like, why they said it, but, like.
Mm-hmm. But, like, in, like, business and, like, harassment training at, like, work, they, like, tell you, it's like, yeah, this is.
Like, tip for, like, oh, you do this, and I give you this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Herman turning around for the audio viewers at home. He's trying to find a nice spot. Just, so you're okay. All right. He's trying to get behind Emily here. At the Orpheum, it's screening time. The video starts with a campaign. Okay, so he's just lying down right behind Emily so she doesn't get a backrest. All right. The video starts with a Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay.
At the Orpheum, it's screening time. The video starts with they start with the campaign video to vote for Karen for Queen, but then it rolls into the video from that night. Karen is drunk and demands affirmation that she's hot. The boy behind the camera eggs her on.
Which, to be fair, who doesn't?
Yeah, because she's all pissed at Greg. The boy behind the camera eggs her on. She says something about, like, she says she can't believe that Greg kissed that slut when he was with her, when he has her. Karen goads the camera boy into revealing himself. It's like, well, why don't you show me what you got going on down there? That sort of thing. And he agrees to show her, but only if she shows him first. In the theater, Karen becomes emotional and leaves. Kelly runs after her, which catches the attention of Wes, but who enters the screening just as the movie starts. Outside, the liars wonder if they did the right thing, and everyone says they did, but feel sort of conflicted, other than Faran.
But are they liars? Have they lied about anything?
Not yet. Because they do in the next episode.
Okay, that's true.
With Karen's death and not talking about A.
Okay, yeah. I just have a hard time calling them liars because they're not like our last girls were lying from the jump.
Right, exactly. Because they had already done. So this is like, I think you mentioned in the last episode of, like, this is the Jenna incident, right? When the others leave, Imogen asks Tabby if it's the right thing to do, if this was the right thing to do, and Tabby's like, yes, it was. Tabby goes back into the theater to find Wes interrogating Chip about the video that played before the movie. Tabby's like, it was my video. Wes tells Chip to go home so he can talk to Abby alone. Red flag. He says they could all get into serious trouble for what she did, and she's like, please don't fire me. I love my job, and apologizes. He's like, I can tell that you're really sorry, and, like, this is your only fuck up. She hopes it won't come again, and especially not with his NYU professors, and he's like, I'll clean up and I'll give you a ride home. Ugh. Mouse scrolls through Karen's Instagram and reads a bunch of her new mean comments. Imogen lays awake in bed as she recalls a memory with her mom a few months ago where Davy's like, I don't like Karen. She's a bully and a mean girl, and I don't want you to be those things. Imogen's like, I won't. In the present, Imogen gets a text. She goes to meet Karen in a cemetery. Imogen admits the night of the party she went back inside to get her sweater, rushed in to stop Tyler from messing with Karen, who was absolutely shithoused, and stole Tyler's phone from him. Karen sarcastically calls Imogen her hero. Earlier that night, she lost her virginity to Greg, so the next thing that she heard that he was kissing her best friend, she was obviously extremely pissed and hurt. Karen says she's been thinking about how Imogen kept the video because she could use it one day to hurt her, and that Imogen isn't a good person. Imogen thinks she shouldn't have put razor blades in her shoes or mutilated a rat, and Karen's like, what the hell are you talking about? Imogen says if they aren't going to have an honest conversation, she'll just leave. Karen snaps and calls her a bitch, and Imogen leaves. And then behind a set of gravestones, A watches them. Tabby and Imogen walk to school, and Imogen admits to meeting up with Karen late last night in a cemetery, and that Karen completely denied the allegations. Imogen also says they met in the cemetery because it's kind of their thing. I don't know why. Madame Geary cancels the full rehearsal since they are missing their lead dancer, Kelly, and they will only be practicing with the Baron and Baroness today. Faran and Henry, one of the other principal dancers, leave and he vents over Jiri's bullshit and bullshit reasons for Faran not leading the dancing in the lead. He asks if she's going to the dance tomorrow, but she hasn't given it much thought. He's like, I'm going. You should too. Karen enters Principal Clanton's office, and he struggles to identify which of the twins is there, and she's like, it's Karen, and says she's withdrawing.
He says Kelly, and then he goes.
Right, and then she's like, no, it's Karen, and he's like, oh, okay. And says she's withdrawing from the Spirit Queen race and destroyed her own posters. Karen comes home, and we find out it was actually Kelly. Karen is at home feeling awful from the screening and all the social media comments. They plan to pull Carrie on Imogen. Imogen is called into the principal's office, who's like, you're now Spirit Queen by default. And Karen admitted that she destroyed the poster herself and will be punished accordingly. Editor's note, school pride is at an all-time low. He congratulates her and says that it's just like mother...
Like mother, like daughter.
Thank you. She goes to the liars, upset, and they usher her into the bathroom. Imogen tells them about Clanton's words like mother, like daughter, and that she's nothing like her mom, and their mom wasn't a bully. Oh, the irony. They all agree to go to the dance together if Noah can find a way. At community service, Sheriff Beasley's like, Noah, you know why I like you? You made a mistake, you did your time, you're turning your life around, and you know how to keep your big trap shut. And he's feeling benevolent today, and you get to have whatever task you'd like to do. And she's like, actually, I do have a favor. Can I get my ankle monitor off for the dance? And he's like, yeah. The night of the dance. The group gets ready together. This is when we have that conversation about favorite dance movies. And Faran's is...
Center Stage.
That's right.
Oh, it's dance movies. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was musicals for some reason, but it's dance movies. Yeah.
Right.
What's your favorite dance movie? Imogen's was Dirty Dancing, right?
Yes.
Which makes, nobody puts baby in the corner. It makes sense.
And then Tabby's was... Oh. Suspiria. That's what it was.
I don't know what that is.
It's a giallo, so Italian horror.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's it takes place at a ballet studio. That's I don't know anything else about it, but it's something to do with witches.
Oh, interesting.
They remade it in a US version semi-recently.
Interesting. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, I think I've only heard of it. I've never seen it. But one of those things that people that are really into movies talk about.
Got it. As in it's really good?
Yes.
Oh.
It's a known kind of classic in that way.
Okay. I wonder if they do Swan Lake.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know what they dance. Imogen admits that she's going to find Karen that night and apologize. She's going to give Karen her crown, or at least try to, and the girls agree to help her. They arrive at the dance and fan out to find Karen. Imogen finds Kelly, who she mistakes for Karen. Note this. Kelly admits her twin is around, and Imogen wants to make things right, and Kelly agrees to relay the message. She congratulates Imogen for winning against her sister, as not many people can do that. She can't wait to see her up on the stage tonight. And Henry finds Faran and asks for a dance. Greg spikes a punch with his flask. Ash and Mouse go outside to get high. She tries to play it cool, but begins coughing, admitting it's her first time. He asks why she calls herself Mouse. She's like, well, my real name's Minnie, but my mom's call me Mouse, partly because my family's Disney obsessed, and partly because they want to keep me young forever. It's childhood trauma that it's too tragic to get into tonight. Noah and Sean sneak out of the party. They find a classroom, and she tells him how good of a boyfriend he's been over this past 6 months or whatever months since she's been on lockup, and they hook up. A walks to the high school and pulls open the back door. The group pulls Imogen off the wall, and they all dance together to Modern Love by David Bowie. Great song. Clanton takes the stage to announce Millwood High Spirit Queen. And guess who it is? The only person in contention. Imogen ascends the staircase to the stage and receives the crown. Faran sees Karen in the rafters, and the liars try to get Imogen's attention. Karen smiles maniacally from the rafters. This is my favorite shot of the episode of Cher, hee. It's so good. Maniacally from the rafters as she inches the bucket closer to the edge. Imogen turns to look up at the balcony. She sees A approach, Leatherface, approach Karen wearing approach Karen. He wrestles with her for a moment and before pushing over the balcony.
The fact that no one else sees this makes no fucking sense.
Well, there's a bunch of streamers and things. So
yeah, have you ever looked at streamers, baby? They're basically see-through.
Wow, okay, that's fair.
I've never bought high enough quality streamers that you couldn't see.
Because they also couldn't see Karen.
Yeah.
Well, they could see Karen, but then they couldn't see...
Yeah, they couldn't see him.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Or them. We don't know. He wrestles with her for a moment before pushing her over the balcony, and she falls to her death. The partygoers begin to scream and run in different directions. The liars all get texts at the same time. The text honestly says that one boy is down, but there are 5 more to go. Keep quiet about him, or they'll all be next. The student body flees. I'm glad we did. I pulled the summary here. We'll come back to this. Student body flees, and a boy deviates and bumps right into A. And he's like, "Who are you supposed to be?" But gets an empty stare and runs away. And the masked assailant turns and walks into the darkness. But then they do this really cool. I really like this, actually. Then they get this, like, they superimpose the big red A over the mask, and then it, like, floats away into the credits.
Oh, I thought that was silly.
Oh, I loved it. It is. It is. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just calling attention to itself way too much, but I like it.
Okay, that's fair. You know I love a good cheese sometimes.
It's gaudy. I love it.
Still not what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm house shopping when I'm like watching the show, and it's just like, I don't like this kitchen. Like, exactly, I'd have to remodel. Like, that's how I feel.
Well, in this, it's because it's all wood paneling everywhere that you're like, oh God, like I'd have to redo all this.
Okay, I actually do kind of like the houses on the show, but
I do. I really like the way they're set up, but it is like that they're all like older homes, so they all are wood paneling.
That is true. Okay. Let's talk about this.
And also, we can talk about more in the different ways that Catholicism is represented in these houses.
Mm-hmm. That is true. There's a lot of Catholicism. This is a Catholic town.
That's right. Nobody's... Exactly.
There were prayer... I mean, there's always candles at memorials, too. We'll get on that in the next episode. But I'm like, yeah, it was very Catholic.
Mm-hmm. People have said that that there's no God in Millwood. You know, they're praying out there.
Yeah. What about Mary? Is she there? Oh, do you think it's because, like, in Imogen's, like, a teen mom? Like, you know, are we playing with that imagery?
Oh, maybe. I mean, we get Scarlet Letter again, but I like that.
Maybe she's going to have the Antichrist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. So this, God, I'm going to sound like Tabby. Is this a Rosemary's Baby situation?
I was thinking more of a...
not to bring up that...
Good Omens book.
Like, oh, yeah, that too.
Good Omens book version. I don't know what's happening in the show.
And we don't need to bring up Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
That's, oh, God, it's the noted pedophile that that a bunch of people in Hollywood still defend.
Oh, good.
Roman Polanski. There we go. And who fled to France. Yeah.
Love that. Mm-hmm. Okay. About Imogen. This girlie has too much conscience. She's the nice girl.
Yeah.
I keep thinking of her as like a Arya Hannah mix, especially in the next episode, because she just kind of like, she has a conscience and she's very set by her rules, but she's also very impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, she's fun. Like, I really like the personalities so far we've seen on all the girls. But my question is, were her and Tabby friends before? Did they know each other before this?
It doesn't seem like it at all. So it's like, where did the friendship come from? Because they also didn't know that their parents were friends.
And then all of a sudden, like, Imogen's given to this woman's family?
Right. It's given to the realtor.
Yeah. Just part of the house.
Yeah. It is weird because when Tabby comes into the house, was Tabby, like, invited? Were they, like, childhood friends and then, like, but, like, don't see each other all that often at that time?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and then afterwards, it's like she kind of comes back to her after Karen friendship dumps her.
Maybe. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, it's very vague. They look like they weren't friends at all.
But they're very close for people that weren't friends beforehand.
Yeah, I can't remember if they said they were childhood friends in the first episode or not.
I don't remember.
But
it's just like weird because they didn't know their moms were really friends. Also, like,
right.
Where's Imogen's dad?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Where's Tabby's dad as well?
Mm-hmm. Not that you need a dad, but you know.
No. Just wondering what. So actually, Tabby, Noah, yeah.
Imogen,
so all three of them. Just curious of like their family background is why we're asking. Where are the
second parent?
Exactly. What was the situation?
Yeah, I just assume father in their cases because they weren't. Mouse is the only one that we've gotten confirmation that her parents are two women. Mm-hmm. She has lesbian moms.
Yep. Oh, real quick on her conscience, just to go back on that. Like, I think it is like very much a loyalty to friends in like that Arya way of like I gotta, and I guess Hannah, maybe more Hannah in that way of really wanted to give people that she feels like remorse of like maybe I like went too far and I crossed this person, but they're my friend. I still like she has conflicted feelings about Karen because they were really close friends. I do like those scenes of like them at the beginning, like just being really close. Also, like massive change in wardrobe to the way like she's very like these old school kind of like baby clothes that or not baby
maternity clothes.
Thank you. That she's in now. Where she's like just kind of like dressing more like in style with like a spaghetti strap top and stuff. Like
I assume part of that is because maternity clothes are only like they're trying to make it look like she's a teen parent. So it's like, well, this is non-teen clothes. Like it's not cool clothes because maternity clothes doesn't come in cool. You know what I mean? Like trying not to like not glamorize teen pregnancy, but like just like to really show like the realities of like not all pregnancy clothes is very cute. And especially if you don't have a lot of money, you're not buying like the expensive like clothes you're only gonna wear for like 2 months because you get bigger.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And I think exactly to your point, it's like it could even be like a hand-me-down from her mom or something from.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's expensive to have to buy an entire new wardrobe when they don't have a lot of money.
Well, and just in general.
Totally.
Pregnancy's a scam.
And the way she's really loyal to her friends, and that's where like the conflict comes in because she doesn't have as much worry about interacting with like other adults and things, but she'll like do the Arya thing where she's like, I've made this decision and I'm doing it. Like the way like she also like will hold herself, it's like kind of coming into the room. I think
she postures,
like postures, and will be like, so I'm doing this. And then like even when she talks to Kelly and asks like about the flyers and stuff like that, there's this posture and question, and it's like I'm making a statement to you. The way that she like turns in the phone in the next episode is what exactly I'm thinking of. I think she does it really. It's really funny to like kind of see when she like turns that on, of like I am the person, like I'm on top of this situation, and here's this like very like
I'm being an adult.
Together. Yes.
Well, and it does make sense for Arya because like she kind of like she puts herself in she was a child, but she's in adult situations as a child.
And I guess that makes sense for this too. Where it's like I have a teen pregnancy. I've had to like really kind of like grow up and deal with this, and I've also had my mom pass.
I'm in a very adult situation right now. Okay, Tabby, will she ever notice Chip? This poor boy is in love with her.
I love this so much that Tabby's just like, yeah, whatever. He's just like this friend, and he's just like, I will go to the ends of the earth for you. He's like, this is so fucked up. And she's like, well, actually, if you think about it, it's not fucked up. He's like, you're so right, Tabby.
You're so right, girl.
I would do anything. I love it. But no. Eventually, like, Chip is going to make like a pass or like put down the hammer, and Tabby's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way.
Yeah. Do you think Chip? She knows Wes is a creep?
Yes. She says it in the next episode specifically that she like clues in. Because I'm wondering if I
always think she's pretending to be nice to him because she wants him to help her get into NYU.
Oh, okay. Of being like, yeah, you can give me rides home.
Yeah, like this is like there's clear boundaries that he's not crossing yet. Like for her, not
right.
We can look at it and be like, that's a creep. But like when you're 16, 17 and you want something really bad and someone's a connection to it, like you're willing to kind of let things slide, and you shouldn't. But
that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense rather than because I was gonna be like in the first episode she kind of goes along with it, but I don't know where her like change would come in. But yeah, I think that makes sense that she's just been kind of playing to. It's like, well, you're NYU professors and things.
Like she thinks he's controlling that aspect. Okay. Mouse gives us some great information. She goes, I've never been to a dance. I have 2 moms. I love animals.
She really gets the most horrifying A text. That's the worst one.
Yeah. Can you imagine being sent an animal murder?
Fucked up. No.
It makes me think of when like all the really pushy vegan content was online and you'd get like bombarded with like slaughtered pigs.
What is this, a Morrissey concert?
Okay, so funny story. One time we went to a show in LA called FYF. It was like a big festival.
Yeah, it was a great festival until we all found out that the person that had kind of put this baby indie festival that then grew up into this giant festival was actually a creep.
Well, it's unfortunate and it happens a lot.
Yeah.
But so at this festival one year, one of the headliners or last acts of the night or whatever was Morrissey. And I was thoroughly enjoying myself because at the time, especially, I was a vegetarian. And so during Morrissey's show, he showed clips of, first it was like police violence in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was also like, you know, butchered animals, like when he played Meat is Murder, which
because he played like oh god, the Queen is dead, and there was like, you know, stuff about like the Queen because you follow Morrissey, he's got some good opinions and some really, really bad opinions.
But anyway, so it's the end of the night, right? This has been a multi-day festival. He's the last closer, I'm pretty sure, on the last day.
Yep.
So I felt fine, but I was with people who maybe had felt better during the day and now no longer felt as good because the things that had made them feel good were wearing off or had worn off. So everyone around me and all of my friends are like sitting there just like horrified at the screen, and I'm just like having the best time because like I didn't feel bad. To Meat is Murder. And so every time I hear Meat is Murder, I think of looking around at everyone around me being absolutely miserable, and I'm just like bopping.
Mm-hmm.
So but anyway, I feel like the scent of dead animal thing. It's Morrissey's content wasn't that explicit. Was it?
Yeah, it was Slaughterhouse videos.
Was it? But was it like all the way? I don't know. I was only half paying attention.
Yeah, it was Slaughterhouse videos.
Yeah, I looked at the band.
Yeah.
I was looking at Morrissey. But yeah, so it's not something you want to receive.
No.
And you know, at least at a festival like that, you can leave.
Exactly.
You can turn around and walk away.
Extremely creepy to receive it from an unknown number.
Just in general. Please don't send that to me.
Yeah, in general too. Unknown number, you can't. I guess you can block it, but like Jesus Christ, that's gonna freak you out. Just real quick. You know this is a Pretty Little Liars show because they all immediately go, "It was Karen," and you're like, "No way is this Karen."
We love girlies who assume things.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do love, so the first time Mouse smokes weed is through a vape pen, which was so unsettling to me because was that even an option? In our day? Back in my day.
Back in our day, they had the little magic flight boxes.
But you still had to put weed in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like a pen. You just bought a pen.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. The world is very different now.
Totally.
It's a lot easier to get. I feel like it's so much easier to sneak around. Don't sneak if you're underage and you're smoking pot. Don't sneak around and smoke pot. But I'm like, damn, no wonder the kids are like vaping all the time. Like that's easy to sneak around.
Just don't tell us, right?
Yeah.
Do what you're gonna do. We don't endorse it. We just shush.
You're like my mom when I was a teenager. She's like, stop telling me things.
Yeah, what are you doing?
But yeah, I thought that was. I don't know why that to me. I was like, oh, it's a sign of the times. Like,
well, yeah, because before it was the little pipes.
Yeah, you would have had to have brought a pipe and someone would have had to have packed a little bowl and someone would have had to light it for, because at least like the first time I smoked pot, someone had to teach me how to use the pipe because you got to plug the hole and you got to light it, and that you like, it's a whole thing. And I was a little afraid of lighters. And so.
And you burned your thumb.
Yeah, I didn't want to burn my thumb.
It's this Bic lighter and everybody's like, don't get the white ones. They're bad luck.
Yeah. Anyway, but
You're missing out on rich cultural heritage.
I didn't want to light my own, so I made the person I was with light mine for me because I was afraid I was going to burn my thumb because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I don't have great depth perception, so I was afraid that it was just not going to go well.
So I burnt my thumb. I'm right-handed. For just viewers at home, I burned my thumb so badly, my right thumb, that like subsequent times I had to learn to light with my left hand. So when I used to smoke, I would light with my left hand.
Huh.
Yeah.
I never made you light for me because by then I was very comfortable.
So it's kind of like how I rode skateboard, goofy, even though my dominant
But isn't the down stem usually if you're using a bong on the left? I guess it depends on which way you turn the bong, huh?
I mean, there's like center.
You could just turn the bong. Like in my head, the bong has to be set up
a certain way.
In a certain way. It's because mine had mushrooms on it, so like the direction mattered to me. It would be pretty.
And certain bongs would have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not the point. I just thought that was wild. Like, it was really distracting to me.
Also, we are so old.
We're so old. This is the most boring episode for most people. They're like, are they good?
I don't know. Yeah. Hey, 30-year-olds, write us up.
Why do Mouse's parents want to keep her little?
It's interesting, right?
What's the trauma?
Yeah.
Is it their trauma or her trauma? Because they talked about it being like I
think both.
It won't happen again.
Exactly.
What's it?
Yeah, because my first assumption was this is we get all the parents' names in the next note section that I have. Elodie. This is like Elodie's response to that. Like her I thought it was just like the Y2K party trauma, but it seems like there's something else that happened in Mouse's past.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have much on Noah for this episode because they didn't give us a lot. We get a little bit more in the next one.
You know, she's got a boyfriend named Sean.
He seems really nice.
He does actually seem really nice.
I know. I keep
waiting
Sean.
for the shoe to drop.
Me too. I was like, oh, we're finally going to get it in the next episode. And then
no. And then he's just upset that she didn't tell him about everything. And he thinks that she's just been like not telling him things. And he's like, don't be closed off with me. And I'm like, damn.
Be still my heart.
Yeah. Sean. That's so nice of you.
Faran is...
one of my only note on Noah is I thought they were going to get like threatened or like murder threatened. I'm like, your teen's going away to have sex. Like, this is horror movie 101. You're going to die. But I knew she was the main character, so I
thought they'd kill him while they were having sex or something, but they didn't, you know. I do appreciate that, like, while this is on HBO, and maybe they'll get more raunchy later, but it's not like you know they had sex, but they didn't give us like a long make-out sex scene. Like, they did not waste our time on that.
It's not even as bad as Riverdale.
No, Riverdale, you get so many episodes where you have to see Archie's abs.
Exactly. AJ, pop that shirt off.
KJ,
there you go. I don't know who AJ is. His brother.
I think KJ Appa, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were just right.
Okay. Faran,
KJ Kappa.
Faran is our most badass girlie. She doesn't give a fuck. But like, so what's her family dynamic? We'll get more on the next episode. But she lives with her dad, but her mom pays for everything.
I had assumed that it was divorced, and the summary writer for fandom on the next episode agreed with me.
Okay, perfect. Love that.
But so that's my assumption.
Okay, Karen and Kelly. So
I also like that Faran is just like, I don't feel bad for Karen.
Yeah, she's like, fuck her.
Uh-huh.
Which vibes?
Yeah.
In the scene where Imogen and Karen are talking in the cemetery, Brenton looks at me and he goes, oh, Karen's gonna die.
Yep. But I thought it would happen like there.
And I almost said, not yet.
Because is this what you knew about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew about the twin thing.
Mm-hmm. Because Kelly's the one
that's why I was trying to make the Black Swan reference. So Black Swan, like the idea that the Black Swan's pretending to be the White Swan. So is that foreshadowing that Karen is going to pretend to be Kelly?
Right. Which I think that adds even more evidence. I think just the biggest piece we've gotten so far is the principal is like that could slide a little bit more, but Imogen being like, oh, Karen and Kelly, and then it's like, no, I'm Kelly. But it's like Imogen wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. How often are these girly pops switching places?
That's true. Like, how often have they been doing this, like, in the past? Like, that's fun. I like that this opens a whole rabbit hole for it. Even if I am upset that, like, Karen, Kelly are now damaged, so we don't get, like, mean Queen Bee as much anymore. So I'm like, oh no, are we like fast forwarding some of like PLL's worst ticks of like defanging people? We'll see.
Or are they gonna make like, because it is Karen, is Kelly gonna if it is Karen? We don't know, but is Kelly gonna become the new Karen?
Right.
Like, does she get her sister's role?
And yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem like it's going that way, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Was ratting Karen out as like when Kelly rats Karen out pretending to be Karen, was that worth it to have a Carrie moment? Because we know it was Kelly's idea.
Yeah, it's Kelly comes back and it's just like, we're gonna get her, and we're gonna, and like, I've got an idea to go, like, they like movies, we'll give them movies. That's all Kelly.
Mm-hmm. So then I think it would make sense if Kelly was the one in the rafters.
Yes, I do agree, but since they've done the switching before, and just the cadence that even Kelly/Karen talks to Imogen at there. It's just like, well, no one beats my sister this way. Like, it sounded a lot to me like Karen.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. So it makes sense that Kelly was in the rafters.
Oh, I got confused.
Because like Kelly was the one who was excited about the plan.
Right, exactly. It's just like, we're gonna get a bucket. The fixation of the bucket I didn't include in my notes. Or that's in the next episode. Sorry. It's
really funny. Why is A pretending to be Karen? Like, why specifically Karen? Like, it's very obvious that A's pointing them towards Karen.
Yeah, exactly. Because it seems like for whatever reason, A is pointing at the bullies within the school to aim them to take down. I think essentially to point them at the bullies within the school to then like essentially, I think that was like a way to like, get under the mom's skin of like, look at what your kids are doing now.
Is Martha, Karen and Kelly's mom, one of the moms that's part of that group?
I don't think she would, because I think we have all the moms accounted for, or all of the Y2K Survivors Club accounted for, which is the most high school thing ever of like this like half clever name for like a little clique group. I don't think so, but she could have been she could have like known Angela or like been friends with her or something. I think there could be a connection there.
Okay.
That's a suspicion that there's more to Martha. Martha? I think Martha.
It's Martha. Because I keep thinking from Heather, Martha, dump truck in the flesh. Sorry.
From Heather's.
Yeah.
They make another reference. They made a reference to Jawbreakers in this.
They did.
And I was like, oh, that's another like more like mature teen movie.
My only other thought on this episode was when we watch what Karen's boyfriend pour alcohol into the punch bowl. I once again ask, what high school has ever put out a glass punch bowl? You only see that in movies.
And we had way tighter security for like our stuff to like get through. I think we got breathalyzed on the way in.
They breathalyzed randomly depending on like your group at my school. They'd breathalyze, they randomly selected. I was never in the group that was randomly selected, if that tells you anything you need to know about me.
Right.
It was always my cousin's sister-in-law who taught at my school and was one of my teachers for a couple of my classes, or at least AP psychology. She was usually one of the people doing it. So like she wasn't going to stop me. I wasn't doing anything. Well, I babysat her kids. Like she didn't think of me as like someone who was going to be showing up to prom drunk.
Oh.
And I wasn't.
Yeah, that's fair. So it's like, oh yeah, come on in.
My reputation preceded me.
Yeah,
Any final thoughts?
Oh, okay. So one last thing for me, this is another old man thing. So please forgive me. Of just a rabbit hole I went down today. So they played, the song was Ava Max, My Head and My Heart, which samples All Around the World. The classic ATC song. Which, I mean, we all know what it stands for. A touch of class.
Oh my God.
Incredible. But I just get so annoyed at like, this has happened multiple times, and this is extremely old man thing because it just happens to be my music, that the music I know like culturally being like re-released again and sampled again in modern culture. Because even I looked up when I was looking it up today, I just said the name. Ava Max was like, yeah, we're just like releasing a new song to a new generation. And I'm like, yeah, that's all din and fine, but like I like the old song. And then I even look up the old song and it's like, oh, they literally re-recorded in English a Russian song. So it's not even theirs. But I just get so annoyed by it because I'm like, I want to listen to the old song. I want to listen to the song that's a Eurodance song, not the one that's like a half pop song. Ugh, I digress. I love that song though. It's so good. I listened to it today.
Oh my God.
And the Russian version is really good too. It even has the la la la's in it. Like, shameless.
Well, yeah, the la la la's have to be in it. That's like a key part of the song.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put a link to the song in the description if you haven't. You don't know it. The
song I'm more annoyed about is the David Guetta song that samples Blue, the Eiffel 65 song. Also, if you didn't ever wondered about like me loving club music now, and then you go back and see like 8-year-old Brenton buying his first CD and buying like Eiffel 65 and being in like a Tower Records and listening to the little headphones and sample CDs and finding like ATC and listening to Around the World and being like, this is my jam. It was just in my blood.
He's a little club rat.
Exactly, at 8.
No, the worst thing that Brenton does, this is becoming a very odd podcast episode, is that Brenton can listen to any type of music at any time of day. So at 7 a.m., if you were in the car with Brenton, he might put on the most insane club music you have ever heard. And you're like, sir, my coffee is scared. I haven't even gotten a drink it yet.
Okay, so when I mentioned that I was listening to ATC today, that was Walking Herman at 8 a.m. this morning.
You like to start the day with a bang.
I do.
I don't like to start the day.
Period.
Shall we move on to the next episode?
Let's do it. All right, Chapter 3, Aftermath. A stunned Imogen is urged by Tabby to run as the crowd disperses. Kelly runs to her sister as Greg is left in shambles. The girls stagger to the hallway, traumatized at seeing Karen's death. Faran asks Imogen to say what she witnessed. While they all saw Karen in the rafters, Imogen is the only one that saw the murderer. The girls realize they've all seen the figure before and connect that A's text to that figure. The girls arrive home to their respective parents worrying. Tabby and Imogen lie that Karen willingly jumped. At the Beasleys, the sheriff gruffly questions Kelly what her sister was doing up there. Kelly pretends not to know, though her father doesn't believe her. She offers up the possibility that Karen willingly committed suicide. In a flashback, Sydney bemoans all the girls are gathered at Pinball Pizza, and Sydney bemoans how Angela was in trouble and they ignored her. Davy assures her it wasn't anyone's fault. Angela was a messed up girl. Elodie, Mouse's mom, is shocked that everyone left quickly, though Corey, Farron's mom, snaps what else they were supposed to do. Marjorie, Noah's mom, asks if they should call an ambulance, but Davy reiterates it's not their fault and someone will find Angela. Sydney probes what happens if they do. In the present day, the girls gather on a video call, and Imogen wonders if they should tell Karen's dad, but the girls disagree, as A ordered them to keep their mouths shut. Imogen realizes that perhaps Karen didn't frame them, but A did, for the girls to go after her. Faran is firm in her belief that Karen was a bully who had it coming. The girls bid each other goodnight, and then Imogen finds solace with Tabby in her bedroom and confesses when her mother died, she wrote the letter A in blood. She also points out the letter her mother received with the red A on it, and now with Karen's death, Imogen is determined to find out what the hell happened at that 1999 party. On Monday, the school conducts a memorial assembly honoring Karen. A hides out under the bleachers and reaches to grab Imogen's feet. It's really weird, but luckily moves in time to run to the bathroom. She encounters Kelly, who says she didn't want to stay home and bear with her mother. Imogen says she is sorry, but Kelly doesn't want to hear it. Imogen asks if Karen knew about the flyer, but Kelly yells at her. And Imogen joins the other girls in the library, who are surprised to hear Kelly is even at school. They all get called to the principal's office. There they see they're greeted by Sheriff Beasley, who interrogates them about the events that occurred at the theater. Imogen speaks up that they didn't film that video that was shown. It was Tyler Machard who they should be speaking to. Sheriff Beasley states he knows Imogen stole the phone to use to humiliate Karen. The girls confess they did it because Karen bullied them first, and Faran speaks up about the bucket Karen planned to dump on Imogen, but the sheriff states no bucket was found and only Imogen claimed to see it. Faran stops him, saying they won't say another word without their parents present, though the sheriff warns them he'll do everything in his power to start a criminal investigation. Faran returns home to find her mother there. Corey demands to tell her everything so she can fix it. Meanwhile, Elodie confiscates all of Minnie's electronics, and then Marjorie admonishes Noah for risking her probation. Sydney scolds Tabby for her lack of thinking and puts a ban on any filmmaking or watching movies alone upstairs and asks if that video is the only copy, and Tabby lies and says it was. Tuesday, Imogen interrupts breakfast, announcing she's giving Sid Tyler's cell phone, and that has the only copy of the full video. At school, Minnie races towards her friends with the school newspaper in her hand that says "Bullied to Death" as the headline. The mothers gather at Imogen's old house. It's such a wild move. Sid is like, well, it's up for market, and nobody wanted to go to anybody else's homes. Let's just go to our dead friend's house. Elodie remarks that being in Davy's house feels wrong, and that it's all too big of a coincidence for their daughters to be involved. They agree that they need to support their children through the disciplinary hearing. Sid adds that the boy, Tyler, should be held accountable. She and Corey discuss logistics on how to approach the principal and sheriff. Imogen sweet talks the librarian into getting the class of 2000 yearbook. The year her mother graduated, Imogen finds her mother's yearbook photo, but then notices that she had a Y2K Survivors Club listed there, and then finds it on several other students' pages. Imogen falls into an investigative rabbit hole and finds the location of the rave through that name. Elsewhere, Madame Giry tells Faran the other dancers don't feel comfortable around her, so she kicks Faran out of the ballet class. Sydney and Corey bring Tyler's phone to the sheriff's office, explaining it was Tyler's fault. The sheriff counteracts that Sid's daughter still used it against Sid's daughter still used it against his daughter, but Corey calls his interrogation of the girls harassment. Corey questions the lack of the law enforcement in the room and because they said they were going to incorporate other law enforcement, not just them, and then threatens to sue if this is all a lie. The sheriff, however, is adamant that their daughters killed his, so there's nothing to talk about. In the locker room, Noah confronts Sean, who's been ignoring her. He's angry she lied about relapsing, going back on drugs because he heard she failed a drug test, and she denies this, and not telling him about the video. Noah sarcastically thanks him for giving her the benefit of the doubt and storms off. Kelly, meanwhile, tearfully looks at a photo of her sister with Imogen. Interesting. Tabby's upset that Chip doesn't have the flash drive because he doesn't even know if it's still at the theater. Imogen goes to the old warehouse where the old rave was. She finds a memorial shrine to Angela. Along the memorial is an old copy of the Scarlet Letter and that Angela had checked it out multiple times. Imogen takes out her phone to take a picture of it, but then there's a screech outside and she runs inside an old forgotten van. Just as A enters the warehouse, they slowly step around the van, but a barking dog distracts them enough to storm off. At Noah's community service, the sheriff explains that he knows Imogen came up with the idea and Tabby edited and screened the video, and the others just went along with it. So if Noah and the other two girls give up Imogen and Tabby and testify before the disciplinary committee, then all the rest of them will get immunity. Tabby doesn't find the drive at the Orpheum and asks why if he's seen it. He's like, well, I did bring it before the deputies could find it. And she's like, well, where is it? He's like, oh, it's back at my house, and maybe you can come over later and get it. Tabby looks conflicted before she receives an urgent message from Imogen. Faran's parents argue about what to do with Faran when she wants to stay at Millwood High. Corey wants her to move to Pittsburgh, but Faran is adamant that she's not leaving her dad, and that her dad is like, well, Faran, you got to understand. But Farron's like, no, I don't want mom to control me any more than she already does. Interesting. Later, Imogen explains to the girls what happened 22 years ago with the rave, and explaining no one discovered Angela's body till days later. Tabby is shocked no one called the police, but Imogen continues telling her of her encounters at the warehouse, specifically A. Her phone rings with a text from Kelly inviting her to Karen's funeral. Wednesday. Noah asks Faran and Mouse about pinning the blame on Imogen and Tabby. Mouse is outraged by this, but Farron's kind of like, I mean, they did come up with it. Mouse believes A is testing them and their loyalty. Tabby successfully sets up a hidden camera at Angela's memorial, but she and Imogen are also surprised by the appearance of Sid, who's confused why they are there. Sydney's like, well, I come here to time to pay my respects. At Pinball Pizza, she explains to them who Angela was, a classmate they tried to befriend, but was damaged in ways they couldn't imagine. And there was no father at home, just a mentally ill mother. She continues on that Angela jumped at the stroke of midnight and everybody fled. 2 days later, Angela was discovered and her death was ruled suicide. Imogen asks why no one came forward. Sid's like, well, no one spoke of the rave again. Tabby's confused why no one investigated why Angela was at the warehouse. Her mother's like, well, if it was anyone else, but not the crazy girl with the quote-unquote crazy mother. Imogen says that she's trying to figure out what happened to her mother and shows Sid the flyer and asks if Davy felt guilty about Angela. And Sid's like, no, your mother was the kindest to that lost soul. Ooh, that's just so rich right there. Sydney assures Imogen that she can ask her former circle if they sent the flyer. Tabby arrives at Wes's residence, who shows her a candlelit dinner, and she's like, uh-oh. She then begins to panic and decides, you know what, I'm just going to get the fuck out of here, and leaves with the thumb drive. Sean visits Noah's, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm not mad. I was just confused and scared because, like, I didn't know what was going on with you and that you weren't telling me things. And she's like, I didn't fail a drug test. I never even took drugs. Actually, it's my mom who took drugs, and I was covering for her when the police came to our house. Thursday. The funeral for Karen begins, but Martha can barely express her grief and begins to wail, and then Kelly goes to take her outside, but then Martha sees Imogen sitting amongst the mourners and calls her shameless and prays to hell that Imogen's child is taken from her like Karen was. In her bedroom, Imogen recounts the events to the other girls and that she plans to say it was all her idea at the hearing, with Faran, Noah, and Mouse exchanging looks. Tabby, however, refused to hear this and volunteers to take the blame. And then Noah confesses that they're all in there together no matter what. Faran agrees, so Noah takes the flash drive from Tabby to flush it down the toilet. At the Beasley residence, Martha mistakenly drops a glass cup. Karen comforts her as Sheriff Beasley drunkenly enters the room. He says Karen was ripped from them and that the girls will suffer for the rest of their lives, and says they will be expelled and jail, so help him. Kelly has a glass shard in her hand and crushes it until she bleeds. Friday. The girls and their respective guardians gather in a classroom. Principal Clanton arrives, announcing the disciplinary hearing was postponed. He says Kelly Beasley came to him to admit Karen was in the rafters with the intent to harm Imogen and provided evidence. He declares the death to be accidental and that the girls won't be expelled, but maybe suspension and detention for multiple weeks. The families dine after at pinball pizza. Sid reveals to the moms that Imogen said Davy received a flyer of the party in the mail and that the girls know about Angela. Sid reassures them that she told them all what everyone assumes to be the truth. Corey believes the incident to be a one-time thing. The girls, meanwhile, can't believe Kelly's change of heart. Faran remembers they haven't heard from A. Mouse thinks it's because they kept his secret. Noah hopes it's over, and Imogen fusses over what their mothers aren't telling them. The girls all look at their mothers suspiciously. Later, Mouse is in her room when Elodie comes in and brings back some of her electronics. She explains to her daughter she can't go through all that again, and Mouse assures her she won't. Corey is preparing to leave and advises her daughter to move past this and reveals she threatened to sue the dance teacher, so Faran is now back in class and is back at the Black Swan. Imogen and Kelly sit at an old pair of swings. Kelly apologizes for her mother's actions. They bond over their losses, and Imogen thanks her for speaking up for them. Tearful, Kelly confesses the Carrie stunt was her idea, and thus Karen's death was on her. The girl collapses in Imogen's arms, crying as Imogen comforts her. The girls gather later in front of Karen's grave, and they eulogize Karen. They look behind them and see A sitting in a red van. The end.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Should Imogen have handed over Tyler's phone?
Oh, well. I mean, in this case, they're like, the parents are like going into like absolute, like, okay, we're going to cover up for them. Yeah. They're going into cover up mode. So like, yeah, maybe this actually kind of works out for them.
Should she be going on investigations alone? Well, a teenager God, no. And pregnant?
No. I don't care whatever situation you're in. If you're in a PLL show, you should not be going off to investigate alone.
Also, our girlie here, she runs and hides in a van instead of running out of the building when she hears someone come in.
Yeah, just leaving. Should have just left. Should have just left. That's like the worst spot. She should have just gotten the fuck out.
Do you think Kelly set her up at the funeral for the mom to see her? Kelly. I think Kelly's Karen, but
right. Yeah. I could see it. The only like conflicting thing I have about that is like the end where she's like just breaking down with Imogen, but I guess maybe she's trying to have it. She could be like setting her up.
Trying to become a friend again. What if she just wants to be friends with her again? So she's like, well, I can be friends with her as Kelly.
Right. I could see that. Well, but then that would be like, why would she set her up at the funeral?
Emotional vulnerability.
Oh.
Just to fuck with her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, to provide that context then for this to, okay. Yeah. Like, look, I did something for you.
It's also a great parallel because like Mona's mom to Allie at Allie's funeral, like watching, like it's a very good, I liked that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you.
I like that too.
Okay. Tabby, were there actually no other copies of this video besides the flash drive and what was on her computer?
Oh God, absolutely not. Like, I guess it could be like just on her computer and flash drive, but do we not think that she's like, oh, I'm going to edit it so fast so that people won't even be able to pull out their phones. But like, that's a long video and people definitely pulled out their phones. Like that's got to be everywhere, all over the school. And I think actually one thing that the show's done well with that is give us that context of where Mouse is looking at Instagram like, oh no. And then also just the devastation on Karen of just like, everybody's coming after me online. Where we don't, even though PLL is kind of like all about that, we never actually really get that sort of context.
Well, it also like we didn't have that sort of social media when Pretty Little Liars started.
Not like Instagram and things, but Facebook for sure.
Yeah, but I think that Facebook, because early Facebook, you couldn't comment, you posted back and forth on each other's walls.
By I guess I don't know.
PLL
is like 2010.
when it starts?
Yeah.
I always think it's earlier than that.
I do too. I really do. So then it throws me when it ends in 2017 and I'm like, wait, what? So
You're right. You're right.
It's so,
yeah,
because I feel like the end of PLL, even though like this is me coming to it fresh, I feel like the end of PLL to like Original Sin, I'm like, there's this big drought of no PLL stuff. No, there was one every other year.
Yeah. It's literally, it's a franchise that's never quite died.
No,
I love her leaving Wes for Tabby, just like getting up and leaving. She's like, fuck this.
Yeah, that's such a good moment where, because we're both sitting there tense, being like,
is he gonna drug her? Like, is he gonna assault her?
Right, because her vision gets wavy and stuff because she is just having like a panic attack being there, and then realizes like, I don't need to sit around for this fucking dude. I can just grab it and leave.
I love that.
I know that is a good example for us all.
But do you think Wes made a copy of what was on her flash drive?
Oh, probably.
Do you think that was her flash drive that she grabbed?
My suspicion was that is some other flash drive, and that the other flash drive still exists with Wes, and that they've just flushed something. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
How did Sean find out that Noah was using again? How did he find out the results of her drug test?
That is true. We have no idea because someone must have told him.
But who and why? How does anyone know?
It's not like, so that's exactly. It's like, did A message Sean?
Or did Karen or Kelly?
And Kelly was like, hey, did you know, like, your girlfriend failed her drug test?
Or should she tell Karen? Did Kelly be like, hey, did you know that Noah failed her drug test? And then Karen went and told Sean.
Yeah, could see that for sure. Working through the grapevine there.
Why did Noah take the rap for her mom?
Because it's interesting. Maybe because her mom's a nurse.
Mm-hmm. But she'd lose her license or something.
Yeah, I didn't include it in there, but there's like specific quotes of like it's like desperate times, essentially desperate measures of like, I needed to cover for my mom because our back's up against the wall. So I don't know. Maybe I guess my biggest suspicion is like that maybe she has a record, or that she would somehow lose her job.
Yeah.
Because why were the police coming to her home for using? Was she like selling or distributing?
Yeah. Or was it like missing from somewhere? Like, was it stolen?
Right. Could she have like stolen from the hospital? And it's like, oh, it was actually my daughter. Yeah. Could have been. Yeah. So it could be like pain pills or something.
Faran, realistic but girly fair weather friend. Like,
oh, absolutely. She's like, again, like we get a real clear picture that she's like, I'm gonna do what's good for me, and I think that's reflected in her mom of like, oh well, we're just gonna sue or threaten to sue until things work out in our direction. So do not rely on Faran.
It's also shown in her horrifically honest eulogy for Karen.
Oh yeah, because she can't get up to be like, you were misunderstood. The best she can do is that,
like, you didn't deserve that. Which
like,
is fair.
You were horrible, but you didn't deserve to die.
Or you didn't deserve to die like that.
Oh right, yeah.
Which is fair, you know.
Yeah, but
it's not.
Everybody else is kind of like, well, you know, blah blah blah, and then she's like, okay.
Why did Karen, Kelly, whatever twin is alive, help the girls? Like, confess about the bucket.
Yeah,
Is it like, because if at first I was like, if this was like, if we thought that was A, then it'd be like, oh, if the dolls are put away, I have no one to play with.
I assume there's something with like conscious going on there and just seeing like what is gonna. I think it's
Karen, and I think she misses Imogen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think it's a director and seeing what was going to happen to Imogen from her dad. So I think it's taking away that monstrous result. I guess trying to curb as much as possible and take it out of his hands. Because Sheriff Beasley is an absolute fucking monster.
Yeah, he's a menace. Not fun.
Yeah,
not cute.
No, just he even looks like Wilden, but he's like the worst Wilden. He's Wilden if he was just an absolute fascist, like even more of an absolute fascist of like, I'm just gonna wield this to like harm people.
I wanted to play a little game, not a game really, but like where we compare Allison, Jesus Christ, Angela and Karen, because we have these two very different deaths that are very similar. There's You could draw a Venn diagram.
Do you think A was just like, oh, this is so juicy. She's even up in the goddamn rafters. This is all just happened to work out for me. Oh,
yeah.
The rich irony.
I mean, I don't know. But so we've got Angela, who allegedly jumped. Well, did jump, but we don't know why.
Yeah.
And who was unloved and uncared about, and people didn't care that she died. And it took 4 days for them to find her. You know, all this shit.
I think that's a really good parallel the show makes of like.
And then Karen, who's like the sheriff's daughter.
Yeah, like who gets the attention for these things? You know, I like that a lot. It's like, oh, she was the crazy person from a broken home.
The unloved versus the beloved.
Crazy in quotes there. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, just the comparison between the two, and I think we have to watch that. I think they're trying to make a very intentional point with that. So.
No, yeah, that's really, really good to flag. And then because that, I think again, that's going to be I think to your point here, that's going to be the entire MO behind what this A is doing.
Yeah, obviously it has something to do with Angela, or else like we wouldn't be getting this backstory.
Oh, right, but that and I think that comparison, right?
Why?
But on a richer thematic level, I think there's a lot to dig into.
To the moms, or the big liars, as we like to call them.
Yeah.
Why did Angela jump?
Yeah, it seems like they really fucked with her. And especially because they feel so fucking guilty.
Why do they feel so guilty?
Exactly. What did you do? What did you do? I think all the way the moms are now and how they like get together and then immediately go into like, we need to manage this crisis. And like, which is all like, we're going to spin the story in a certain way. It's not like we need to expose the truth and they need to like own up to their things. It's like, how do we protect them by like spinning the truth or spinning the story into some sort of truth that works for our daughters? And I think that's like directly comparison to like what they do after Y2K, the Y2K thing. It's like, how do we construct our lives where we are not culpable for this? And I think that's really good. And in comparison to like, I love it. It's not a comparison of like good or bad. It's just a different way of doing things. Cause I love the way that Pretty Little Liars does stuff with parents of just like, what the hell is going on with our daughters? And like, that's just really fun and silly.
It makes sense for the timing too. Like I think about like the way our parents acted, and like I just made the joke. My mom was like, tell me less. But it wasn't really a joke. You know what I mean? Like she wanted to know as little as possible about my high school years, minus the like, are you alive and are you safe? Whereas I think these parents are a little bit more like, we have to protect them.
So that is much more familiar to my upbringing.
That's true. You did have but you had the Emily Fields upbringing.
Yes.
I had the Aria upbringing.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got for you. Are you ready to take us to office hours or?
Real quick, there's a few things I noted. Pizza places all over the world have those plastic red cups.
I
was like,
and you know what? Watching that scene, it made me want a really good slice of greasy pizza and a nice like cherry Coke. I really wanted a cherry Coke.
Yeah, sodas taste better out of those.
Well, because fountain sodas taste better than canned or bottled sodas.
Right, but specifically out of red cups. So then when you put it in that cup,
yeah, you just feel, it's nostalgia, baby.
Yeah,
and the what are they? The BPAs or whatever it is. The toxic plastics.
That's right. The microplastics.
Yeah, our childhood.
Little microplastics was my meal. I mentioned Catholicism in the home.
Oh yes, yeah.
So Noah's family, they have the Jesus with like where there's the heart, where you could see the heart in the chest. You know what I mean? I feel like that's
the Sacred Heart one. I can't remember. They have names.
Yeah, I can't remember the name
I'll
either.
Google.
But I'm like, that's a very specific cultural touchstone. I'm like, all right, you're nailing it there. And then meanwhile, where Kelly/Karen is bawling over Karen/Kelly's death, she has a literal cross throw pillow that she's just like hugging in her place, and how they're, you know, it's this very like austere, like this very sterile environment of like these white kind of like backgrounds and drops, and everything looks like it's behind glass and things.
It is the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Okay.
I know my Catholicism.
I love it. Yeah, I wouldn't have
all the
been able
ones
to
with the
pick it.
hearts.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is great. Great pieces here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I had. Oh, and I just love the irony of Sid being like, "Your mother was the nicest to Angela, and don't you worry about that." It's like, and then Imogen worrying like, "My mom wouldn't want me to be a bully." It's like, it's only because your mother was absolutely horrible to Angela, as far as we can tell. Oh, and also the Catholic Church in there. I'm like, I know Emily's been like, your Catholic Church doesn't look right, Brenton, but this is a Catholic church.
Yeah. Brenton grew up going to a Catholic church that doesn't have like a lot of stained glass, and like you don't have the good like crucifix in the front,
Yeah.
A good crucifix.
There is. It's a little, taken up. Yeah.
Not the same. It doesn't make me feel as guilty when I look at it. I feel less shame walking into that. Like, that doesn't make me feel embarrassed at all.
Right. It's like, these pants don't quite fit right.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm sorry.
A little too loose.
I feel like I could have bare shoulders in here and no one would care.
Well, they'd care, but they'd be quiet about it.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. All right. I can take us to...
Oh, yeah. It was Detective Club.
Detective Club.
Speaking to the microphone.
Huh? The other thing that I think would have been really good. Sorry, before we get into Detective Club. Sorry. I think would have been really good right before, as Imogen's on stage, is Tabby looks at the stage, and then everything goes dark, and there's one spotlight comes up. She sees the giant, and he goes, "It's happening again."
Oh my God, Twin Peaks references. I don't think so.
No?
I think the old Pretty Little Liars was more Twin Peaks. I think this is just too much horror to be like anything else.
Well,
like too much horror
so this is
references.
Twin Peaks: The Return.
Okay, well, I couldn't get through that because it was fucking miserable to watch. I'm going on record saying that. I would say that with my full chest.
That's why we can never watch Twin Peaks for the show.
No, I would cry.
Oh. Yeah.
That, and I got really scared.
We had first in The Return. Yeah, it's really, it can be really creepy.
Pointlessly so. Anyway, to Detective Club, let's solve some mysteries.
So okay, it's still, it's hard to pick who could be behind the mask and like who A could possibly be, but we can at least know that that they are some sort of avenging angel on behalf of Angela, we assume, or like not even on behalf of Angela, but like related to what happened to Angela, that they are now intentionally targeting bullies, quote unquote, and that there is 6 more. I believe it was 6 more.
5 more bullies.
5 more bullies.
Because it's the 5 girls.
6 total.
Yeah, there were 6 total because it was Karen, and then it's like 5 more bullies to go.
Right. So then it's all the moms, I guess they're trying to say.
No, I think it's the girls.
The girls themselves?
I don't know. Because they became bullies to bully Karen. That's how I interpreted it. But maybe
now they're coming after them?
Yeah.
I had assumed there was other targets.
Because it wouldn't make sense if it was the moms, because unless the one down is not Karen, but actually Imogen's mom.
Yeah, it's okay. So it says 1 bully's down, but there are 5 more to go. Keep quiet about him, or you will all be next. So I don't know. See, this is we're up to interpretation. I assume there are other targets going on, and potentially the I don't think it'd be the moms. It's probably other people at the school, maybe. Like, is potentially Greg one of them, or like
Tyler?
Yeah,
he took the video.
Right. We don't exactly Tyler. Like, what's going on with Tyler? Why didn't he ask for his phone back? That's the other thing. And so, like, is Tyler actually the father? And that's why he never asked for his phone back from Imogen, because he wanted nothing to do with that and cut and run. Tyler, we have not seen,
but wouldn't she
seen or
have
heard
gotten,
from yet.
She wasn't pregnant, so she would have had to have seen him since then.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know still.
We don't know.
Yeah, we also don't know what happened to Mouse in her past. So I assume that things are going to start showing up for the moms here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to start being like, oh shit, like freaking them out. Like much like, because like, why did Davy receive a flyer, but no one else did?
Mm-hmm.
So I assume it's the start of things to get things going.
But wouldn't Davy be considered a bully on their hit list?
Yeah.
So why would it only be 1 down? Wouldn't it be 2?
Was Karen not the bully that they're talking about?
That's what I was asking earlier. I don't know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like if it's the moms, then was it actually Davy and not Karen? But then why send that after Karen dies?
Right.
Just to be confusing.
I guess unless the targets are all their peers.
I don't know.
We're very confused.
We're very confused.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the show is like I just don't understand where things are going at the moment.
No,
it's that central mystery isn't really like kind of like, I mean, it's not really a central mystery at the moment.
I'm not loving it. I'm gonna be really honest, and I'm gonna be really brave.
You are.
I'm so brave. No, I am not loving it as much as I hoped I would. And I've been told it's going to get better and that it's going to get more like campy and kind of fun. But to me, it's just like, if I was not watching it for this podcast, I would not continue watching this show at this point. I would just be like, not for me, which is very odd because I don't usually quit things. That's not true. We started The Expanse like 7 times because I couldn't make it past the first episode.
You're like, oh God.
I have a really hard, and then I loved that show. I have a really hard time with beginnings that I don't feel like really related to the characters or really motivated by the plot. And this one, I'm not getting enough of either. Like it's giving me enough of either that it's like, oh, this is okay. Mm-hmm. But it's not like strong enough in either compartment to like make me, their department, to make me feel like motivated to keep watching.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I still kind of like the overall vibe and things that are going on.
Oh, I think it's pretty. I think it's well done.
Yeah. I think it's enough to kind of keep me going, and I'm like interested in how this is all going to wrap up. I get that these 2 episodes for this podcast, I was like, yeah, these are a little slow, like coming in. I'm like, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to like grab onto. It's kind of like a lot of stuff that it's like, okay, I kind of know that, or like that's some nice small fleshing out there, but I don't like this Detective Club. I don't have a lot to go on for the central mystery yet, and this is a short season, so I'm assuming things will kind of pick up and start getting faster from here, and we just kind of had these 2 to like lay out some track for us. Like with the big reveal, I mean, the big, obviously Karen/Kelly dying is huge. And whatever is going on with Leatherface/A, if also it seems like the person permitting the murder is different from A. So that's like another thing. It's like, who are these 2 people? And I'd assume now that we have to figure out like who's the person killing people and then who is the person that is guiding them.
Interesting. Okay.
So question marks on that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I also know, like I've seen who A is and kind of like have a baseline understanding. And so I think it should be a compelling story. So I'm just waiting for it to be a compelling story, and it's not doing it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think these are the episodes to get us going on that. I'm not coming in with the excitement that I had off of episode 1. So, well, as you can see, we just had a more free-range discussion about the show than actual Detective Club because there's not a lot to go on. So we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
I detect mediocre vibes.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? I just feel it makes me sad because I want to like it and I don't, and like that always hurts my feelings.
I understand. Yeah, I'm like, these next couple, like these next couple episodes, I think we're gonna start hitting some strides here.
I hope so.
I hope, yeah, exactly. I hope you're like, oh, this is hitting for me now.
Yeah. I'm scared. I'm worried it won't, but we'll power through because we made it through Ravenswood, so we can do anything.
That's right. We can do it. You can do anything.
I think the other thing is it's not bad. Like the fun thing about Ravenswood was I would just get on here and just be like pissed. Like I was just, you know what I mean? Like and it's not bad enough for me to be like, oh, this is like horrible. And like here's my big, not that, I mean, parts of Ravenswood were actually kind of entertaining, but like, it's like, I can't get
begrudgingly.
Yeah. She says. But I can't get on here and be like, oh, this is miserable, and I can't get on here and be like, oh, I'm so excited, or like, oh, this is so outlandish, oh, this is so playful, oh, this is so silly or campy or anything. It's just kind of like doing everything well, and it's not doing it great to me. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
In terms of plot, there's lots of other things they're doing well, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, exactly. With the main story.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I want to be having fun.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to quite get into the like same ridiculous overtopness because it's just different style of like PLL. Mm-hmm. But hopefully we'll find something that you really like.
Wow.
And anyways, just in terms of schedule too, coming up, we should have the next week's episode all ready to go. And then there's going to be a gap where about 2 weeks there where we won't have an episode just because our schedule's getting crazy. So we'll just a heads up for that, and I'll post on Co-host and actually probably try and make a post on YouTube too.
But don't worry, then we'll be back because we got to finish this.
Oh yeah, we're coming back.
She ain't quitting.
We got this show. We're gonna finish the show, and then we also got future shows. So like we got a whole artwork for Riverdale that looks great. So we got to get to that.
I'm very excited for that because Riverdale is kind of just like fun bad. When it gets bad, it's funny.
Yeah, but I think the first season is more like this.
Yeah, but Archie fights a bear.
He does fight a bear, and it's really good. That is really good.
But regardless, I mean, I think I will have to see how it compares when we rewatch it. But I remember being very compelled by the characters and the storyline very early on.
The mystery is super compelling in Riverdale, if I remember correctly.
But this, I'm kind of just like...
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have that compelling mystery yet. I agree.
Yeah. Well...
You can find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also find us on YouTube for all your video viewing pleasure, and also seeing Herman at dead_ends. You can also write to us at deadendspcast@gmail.com. You can also leave us comments and things. We love responding to people on there. And you can also rate and review us.
Specifically on YouTube. We don't see them anywhere else.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
We don't look anywhere
Yelling
else.
Into the void.
Yeah.
But please rate and review us on your podcast platform of choice because it helps us get discovered and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Until next time, we're still here. We're going to find out everything.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.